Welcome to another episode of the Franchise Gun Edition. Someday we'll cover a movie that's not just 2 hours of people shooting each other.
Was your peak.
I know. Listen, look. It's Daniel Ehrenberg, episode 155, 56 of the franchise, something like that. H-bomb.
Yeah. Hi. Boy, I kind of had a little intro there, but that's all right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Coming at you, folks. Living easy, living free. Season ticket on a one-way ride. Asking nothing. Leave me be. Taking everything in my stride. That's right. Down on the GSP. It's Henry Papali.
Now, what was that a reference to?
Episode 154. That was the opening lyrics to a band I've only mentioned maybe once on this show, AC/DC. That's the opening.
Fuck you.
That's the Highway to Hell.
All right, yeah. He's on. I'll tell you what. I've been where Henry lives, and it is the Highway to Hell.
We have beautiful sandy beaches, though, Daniel.
It's true. Yeah, you do. I saw you perform some music down on those beaches.
Forgot about that. Right, on the water. Yeah.
That's right, Henry. So we're covering the John Wick pictures this week, and this was my choice. I remember when the first one came out, and the buzz was hardcore. This seemed like a franchise to me that exists as a franchise out of sheer force of will from the audience. It's one of the first word of mouth franchises that I've seen in a long time. We talked about this maybe with Austin Powers, where the first one did fine, but maybe not enough to warrant a sequel. But then ultimately the demand was there.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I just remember John Wick was a little movie. No one was talking about it, but I kept hearing about it on podcasts.
Really?
Yeah, people saying, "Hey, you see this new Keanu Reeves picture? This is genuinely good stuff."
Wow. All right. I mean, I remember when it came out, I had no desire to see it. I think it was on like HBO on demand a few years ago, maybe like 4 years ago, and I was just like, "Oh, fuck it, let's see what this is all about." So I watched it the one time. That's it, the first one.
I had no interest in it when I heard that it was, Keanu Reeves' revenge thriller.
See, I thought you would have had your interest because
I do like Keanu Reeves.
You do. I mean, I don't have anything against him, but I've criticized him in the past. But you, I think, would be a little more interested.
But I became more intrigued because, over the ensuing months, you'd hear people talking about like, oh, and how about there's this hotel where it's only assassins and
okay.
Yeah, and then there's the sommelier, and he knows about guns.
But you still never watched it.
I never watched it, but it became intriguing to me. And so it was the kind of thing like when we started doing the podcast, I was like, eventually one of these Wick pictures will come out. We'll cover it.
Yeah.
And
all right.
So here it is. The third one is coming out. It came out this past Friday. It's a hit. There's going to be more John Wick pictures. They're talking about a John Wick cinematic universe. They're talking about John Wick TV spin-offs that don't feature the character John Wick.
That's the only one I heard about. I didn't hear about all this other stuff. Jeez.
I'm telling you, they're making these wicks. They're dipping their wicks. And so I figured let's cover them. But I got to tell you, I did enjoy these movies. I'll say that right up front.
Good.
I enjoyed covering them this week, but I got tired at a certain point, man.
Yeah. I got tired actually. Weirdly at about the same time in both movies, like roughly a little like an hour and 15 minutes into both movies, I got a little tired. I think it's just, I mean, we'll get into it, but the type of movie that it is just becomes a little exhausting.
At the beginning of this year, Henry, I pitched to you a full year of the franchise with no explosions.
I don't remember that pitch.
I pitched it.
That doesn't feel like that would be
I
possible.
fucking said it, Henry, and that's basically what you said. Like, that's bullshit. Okay, whatever. We'll cover Teen Wolf. We'll cover Teen Wolf for 1 week. Yeah, it was off air, I think.
Boy, I mean, I'm game. If you, yeah, sure.
I'm just saying. Since then, we had a nice start to the year. We covered Shyamalan. We covered Godfather. And then all of a sudden, we're back to the Equalizer, Henry. I'm going back. I'm looking at some of these.
Every one of those movies has guns in it.
We were stuck in the Leprechaun for a month. We covered Men in fucking Black. We covered X-Men for 5 weeks. And now these John Wicks. And I'm just like, can I watch a fucking movie where the characters aren't shooting each other?
Yeah.
Can I just see a couple people talk in a diner for a minute?
I'd love that. I look, man.
I know the Equalizer technically had that.
Yeah, well, I did push for that. I'll admit I pushed for that one. But I would love to cover some dramas, but I think that sometimes we think people are going to be bored when we cover them.
I don't care about the people anymore. The Godfather episodes did well for us, Henry. Okay.
All right. I know you're also talking about doing comedies, which is fine too. But I would. I got a trove of dramas I would love to do. So whatever, man.
Can we just cover My Girl? Can we cover Free Willy? All right.
You made a little jump.
Can we cover Bridget Jones?
That is a good idea. See, that I would do.
Can we, Henry?
The plaintive in his voice. Oh, the plaintiveness in his voice. Oh, Lord. Yeah, sure, dude. You called this one, but you call the next one. All right, my friend?
This week took a lot out of me, man. I felt like Death Wish all over again.
Well, that was exhausting, but really funny to do.
Yeah.
Prior to this recording, Dan and I were talking about I was saying to him how sometimes I look forward to the episode about the movie much more than I look forward to the movie. That doesn't always happen. Quite often I look forward to the movies. But Bridget Jones, the episode would be fun. Yeah. Free Willy, the episode would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
I'm down.
All right.
I'm having mercy on you right now. I could feel your pain. I don't share it.
It's summer now, Henry. The vibe has changed in the air. Okay?
Right. No more violence.
I'm sick of it.
No more horror? No more.
I can take the stabbing a little more.
Okay. You don't want the shoot-em-ups. You're a little tired of the shoot-em-ups.
I find horror more fun because there's the suspense aspect to it. The gore is sometimes silly. It's usually horror stories are mired in some sort of personal conflict, be it a divorce, be it a high school prom. And I think I don't derive the same fun out of these people shooting each other. Like, I'm watching these John Wick pictures, and I'm thinking, this is the best possible version of this. This is really cool, really well done. If there were fight choreography Oscars, this is what I'd be pulling for to win.
I agree.
But I'm sitting there, and at a certain point, it's numbing.
I agree. Now, having said all that, before we get started, I will ask you right away. I think I already know the answer to this. Did you prefer either one of these movies to either one of the Equalizers?
I think that these movies are better than the Equalizer movies. Both of them are better than both of them.
Okay. I thought about that question when I was watching.
I thought about it too.
Did you?
Yeah, because there's a similarity there. Although, I'll tell you what this movie really is. It's The Crow without any of the supernatural shit.
Is that right?
It's exactly The Crow.
Oh, I didn't know. I haven't seen The Crow in like 20 years.
The premise of The Crow, and by the way, this fella Chad Stahelski, who directed these movies, who got his start as Keanu Reeves' stunt double, was also Brandon Lee's stunt double on The Crow.
I read that.
So he's familiar with the fucking Crow.
Okay.
All right. He could have died. Anyway, the Crow. There's a gang of dudes. They come into Brandon Lee's big penthouse in the middle of the city where it never stops raining.
Right.
And they rape and murder his... Maybe they don't rape her. I don't remember. But they murder his fiancée. And,
Boy, I don't remember anything.
And they kill him, but he comes back as a spirit of vengeance.
Got it.
And on one long night, murders everyone in the gang.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Now, that's all John Wick is, man. His lady gets murdered. Or no, his lady dies. I will say that's a decent twist in that he's not avenging the death of his wife.
It's a great twist.
Yeah, it's a really smart use of this device where she dies of course, cancer. But she bequeaths him a very adorable puppy, and
this puppy
was fucking cute, right?
I mean, well, there's a handicap here for me because beagles are my favorite dog.
Are they?
So yeah,
You a big Snoopy guy?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I love beagles. They're really fucking cute.
Let's cover the Charlie Brown movies.
This has really affected Daniel, folks. Really affected Daniel. I can feel a slight edge on the teetering brink of reality here. I'm liking it. It's interesting. He's collapsing from all this. Yes, yeah, beagles. So you put a beagle in there, and then you fucking kill it.
Oh, see, it's brutal.
I didn't remember. I remembered it was like Revenge of the Dog maiming. For some reason, maybe that was my mind in the memory of this, like seeing it 4 years ago.
Trying to protect you.
Yeah, and so when it happened, I was like, oh boy, when are they going to hurt the dog? I did not remember.
They flat out killed his fucking dog with one stomp.
You telling me that is more painful than me watching them kill her wife?
No, I fucking hated it. It was awful. To the point, Henry, where after watching this movie, I Googled the dog to make sure it was actually okay in real life.
Is he still around?
He retired, living on a farm in New Jersey.
Hey!
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go try to visit it.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, although that is what they tell kids to save them. Maybe they're lying to the public.
That is very true. Yeah. Sure. No, he's absolutely on a
farm. He's on that farm with the fucking dog's purpose dog.
Right.
And all those horses from Luck.
Absolutely. Lassie's grandkids and the Horse Whisperer's grandkid.
Yeah, and that guy from the Twilight Zone movie.
Which Twilight?
The guy who died, John Landis' murdered.
Vic Morrow,
exactly.
Where the hell did that come from?
That's a good pull. All right, so the dog's okay. Anyway, let's do the stats a little bit. We could talk more about this shit. John Wick comes to us. It was originally a spec screenplay by this fella, Derek Kolstad.
Yeah.
And he wrote the script. It was called Scorn. Yeah. And it was written for someone in their mid-60s.
Yeah, I read. They wanted to have Paul Newman, or they have Paul Newman type. I mean, how far does this go back? Because he's been dead for a while.
No, I don't believe they said Paul Newman. If they did, then they meant a Paul Newman type. Yeah. All right. So this fella, Derek Kolstad, he writes this screenplay, and it gets bought by Hollywood. And because it's Hollywood, they're like, what about a younger, handsome guy?
But to their credit, they at least got like somebody with some presence and
yeah. It's not like they got fucking Zac Efron. They got Keanu,
right? Which is really the way you would think it would have gone for something like this. But,
sure. Yeah. Well, they hire Keanu for $1.5 to $2 million. I think I read.
That's like pretty cheap.
It's cheap. Well, it's a low-budget movie. He wanted to make it. He liked the script. And he got some creative control because they were paying him so little. So he got to hire the directors. He found this fella, Chad Stahelski. They're like, who do you want to be the director of your movie? And he's like, my stunt man. My body double.
We've got to get these people off the bus and on my movie.
So Chad Stahelski, he's your new director. And he co-directed the movie actually with David Leitch, but because of DGA rules, they credited Leitch as a producer. They do similar shit with the Coen brothers a lot.
I always thought that with the Coens that was like voluntary. But maybe
it must be by this point. But I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about this of like co-directors having to enter themselves as a director and producer team. So
boy,
yeah. DGA's got strict rules on these brother team-ups. It's
kind of sad because most people really don't pay much attention to who produces something.
Well, the insiders in Hollywood do, because David Leitch he split up with Stahelski after this movie, and he immediately got to go off and direct fucking Atomic Blonde, and didn't he make Deadpool too?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember. Okay. I remember. Yeah, so he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing just fine. So they direct this movie together, and it's a fucking hit, dude. It was released October 24th, 2014, on a budget of $30 million, and it only made $88.8 million, and that's worldwide, Henry. It only made $43 million domestically.
Oh my! So domestically, it didn't even double itself.
No one cared. It was a tiny movie. I'm telling you, it was word of mouth. People discovered it streaming or whatever.
Yeah.
It came in at number 77 at the domestic box office that year, between Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West and Academy Award winner Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Wow, that did that little box office, that movie?
Yeah, no one gives a shit. Fuck that movie. All right. So, Henry, the movie comes out. Did we want to do our 2014 lists?
Sure, we did it recently, but for those just tuning in, welcome.
All right. Spoilers. I couldn't find my 2017 list, so you're on your own there.
You couldn't find your 2014 list.
No, I have my... Oh, you're 100% right. I have my 2017.
So you don't have... I'm doing this alone.
Yeah, do it alone. I want to hear your list.
All right.
Is that a problem for you, Henry?
That's a big problem for me. I can't deal with that.
Are we going to have a fucking problem here?
We're going to have a fucking problem here. Hey, you need a flashlight? Let me help you with your Instagram post.
Yeah.
Fuckers. If you want to hear that, you can listen back to the Avengers episode. All right. Since you didn't provide one, I'll give some HMs here. We got Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that was on my list. I remember that.
Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Keep going. No? Keep going.
Grand Budapest Hotel. The Equalizer. It Follows, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. All right.
Those are some good movies. I didn't care for Dawn of the... Hey, I found my list.
Look at this guy, just in time.
This is like an old-ass version of it. So,
who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, and Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to add that.
Okay.
All right. So very good. And you will do the honors, I think, since you found your list. You go first.
All right. Well, on this old version of the list, my number 10 was the Ebert documentary, Life Itself.
I didn't think that was this year, but okay.
All right. Well, maybe I'm fucking wrong. Who cares?
If that was me, folks, they'd be screaming right now. That's all. Absolute bedlam. All right. Number 10, Interstellar.
All right, my number 9 is Happy Christmas.
All right. Number 9, Inherent Vice.
Ooh, my number 8 is Joe.
Great movie. I think you amended that since that list. I don't remember that making it later on.
All right.
There. but good call.
Deserves to be on there.
Number 8, pronunciation help, please, because I can't remember the right and the wrong way. The
Babadook.
Duck. The book. Just remember
That's
book,
right.
Henry. Book. The Babadook.
My number
8.
7 is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
My number 7 is The Drop.
My number 6 is Gone Girl.
My number 6 is Whiplash.
My number... Oh. Are you going to heavy hit this, baby?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I thought you were... Here we go. Yep.
Heavy hitters. These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitters.
Oh, okay. Number 5, Snowpiercer. I'm not usually the one to go after that shit.
I know, it's jarring. Yeah. That's what we do here, folks. We like to spice it up with banal changes. All right.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me, Mr. Turner.
Oh, sure. My number 4 is The One I Love.
My number 4 is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Yeah, you got the whole stupid thing.
I think that's the first time I've ever gotten that.
My number 3 is Nightcrawler.
My number 3 is A Most Wanted Man.
My number 2 is Whiplash. Whiplash.
My number 2 is Gone Girl.
And my number 1 is Boyhood.
And my number 1 is Nightcrawler.
All right, we did it.
All right.
Boyhood. What a great no-gun movie. Gun-free, that movie.
Hey, look, if you're not interested in Tylenol PM or Ativan or anything...
stop it.
You can throw on Boyhood and you will be fine. That and a Ken Burns documentary on the Civil War, perhaps, you'll be good. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a fucking brain, if you're not watching movies to keep you awake like a sociopath. All right.
John Wick on a perpetual loop for insomniacs.
All right, let's talk about this Wickshire.
Yeah. Did you plan that one?
No, but I've got tons of them.
That's not written?
No.
Oh, you got tons of them. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wick, he's got the dog. So what happens, man? His wife's dead at the start of the... Well, actually, we get a fucking in media res opening, which I can't take. I hate them.
I know you do, but I actually like this one. I think it's kind of cool.
Didn't fucking need it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Does this action movie about Keanu Reeves playing an assassin at some point have his character on the ground bleeding?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That's not a surprising thing. When in media res openings, you're supposed to watch the opening scene of something and be like, "Oh, how do we end up there?"
Here's what I think is happening right now. I think I'm going to hold my pen so I look like one of those Fox News commentators to make himself look smarter.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
or Bob Dole with a bum hand.
Pulling out all the old reps. Welcome to the franchise. It's 1996. This is 91.9. Fresh air.
Yeah. Here's your co-host, old hanging Chad. All right.
Later on the episode, Steven Seagal and MC Hammer. All right. I think this episode is bearing the brunt of what probably should have, been earlier in a few years in, like, I think John Wick is taking some heat for something that it's just falling on it.
But here's the thing, Henry.
You could have done this with The Equalizer. You could have done this with a million other. I think I'm not blaming you. I'm understanding it.
But I'm aware that this is happening to me, and I'm going to try to judge this movie on its own merits, because I think it is a really excellent action movie for what it is. I think I'm going to give it like 3, maybe 4 stars.
Okay.
All right.
So, action movie fatigue, you're going to try to curb it, but I'm not asking you to curb it fully because it's very fucking amusing. I'm just pointing something out.
Yeah, I mean, Can we just watch the Mighty Ducks?
You saw Dumbo recently. We could go back to the original. We could cover both Dumbos.
Nah, there's no sequel. It's a remake.
We could cover. How about The Thing? There's very little gunfire.
Come on, Henry. Can't you just? I mean, The Thing has guns in it. Seriously, that's where we're at as a fucking nation. Where I'm like, can we watch a movie without guns in it? And you're like, how about one with only one gun?
Let's cover 2 guns. How about that?
It's only got 2 guns. Yeah.
2 guns, man. So he's laying on the ground, bleeding to death, or not really. And then
how are we gonna get there?
Flashbacks.
He's gonna get into a bunch of fights and then he'll bleed.
Well, right, but flashbacks first, which I appreciated. Didn't need to see the whole him living a peaceful life with his wife. I'll take it in flashes because we already know we're watching an action movie.
It looks very idyllic.
Very idyllic.
It's one of those things.
Like the most amazing places on earth. Like looking over at night on the most beautiful, clear New York City night, on the East River, or they're on a beach.
Yeah.
It's magic time on the beach.
It's one of those things where they happen to be filming themselves on the beach, and one of them says, "Boy, I sure do love you," and the other one says, "I love you too." And then just to make it realistic for the audience, one of them goes, "Are you still filming?"
Right. Wouldn't it be great if they showed flashbacks in a movie like this of like them kind of fighting? Or just like waking up, like one going to the bathroom and one.
But that would be a different movie. That would be a different movie because it would be in a movie like this. Then it would be like we're dealing with the fact, like, oh, we ended on a sour note. I should have known what I had when I had it.
I'm half kidding, but it would be great to have like an alternative cut where like they're just like, well, where did you put the peanut butter, Wick? I don't know, Helen.
That would be great. Just John Wick. John Wick, fucking, like, bleeding out on the ground, looking at videos on his phone of just his wife going like, John, where'd you put the remote?
Videos of John Wick just looking at his wife, looking at his phone, like, on Pornhub or something, and he's just, like, regretting.
I can explain. I was researching step parents, and somehow I ended up on Pornhub.
John, your father's here. Your father. He's drunk again. I'm tired of dealing with it. I'll be right there.
Ooh, who do you think John Wick's dad is? Bernard Wick. It's me, Bernard Wick.
Bernard Wick.
All right.
Burning the candles at both ends, Wick.
Oh. All right.
So he gets a dog as a gift from his dead wife.
Cute as shit.
That I'll never know.
Also, the dog is perfectly trained. So was his wife telling John that she was going off to like chemotherapy, and instead she was going off to train this fucking dog?
I'll tell you what's going on here. This is a euthanizing situation. She paid somebody to kill her so she could time the FedEx delivery right of the dog. And they're very wealthy, so you know this is not from a no-kill shelter. This dog is like one of those happy fucking dogs, like who's from like a breeder, and it's already trained, buddy. So this is an expertly timed doorbell ringing for a perfectly nice dog named Daisy. Heartbreaking sequences of
oh, it's
cuteness.
Awful. Yeah. You mean the stuff with the dog is so beautiful and lovely. Jumping up on the here, Daisy, sleep on this rag on the ground, and
I'll get you some kibbles tomorrow. Gives it cereal.
Yeah, he fucking flat out gives it cereal. But the dog is like, you mind if I jump up on the bed? All right, come on up. Yeah.
Daisy, Daisy, tell me your garden soul.
What's that from?
2001.
Right, of course. Okay.
Yeah. So, but first, he has the dog in his car and gets stopped by Russian Alfie Allen from Games of Thrones.
Lily Allen's brother, Alfie.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right.
We talked about this when we covered The Predator, because he's one of those fucking people.
Right, yeah. He looks weird. Not a good accent.
Not a good actor.
Not a good actor. I was trying to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, especially after I read about the making, and he was like really jazzed up to be in this movie and studied Russian and studied a New York accent. He didn't nail either part of that. But it's still a good scene when he stops John Wick at the gas station and John Wick responds in Russian. I like that. I thought that was kind of cool.
Lily Allen has a song called Alfie about her brother that is about how he just hangs out in his bedroom and smokes weed all day. And so maybe I don't believe him so much on the research.
Yeah, and probably one of those songs that's not hyperbolic in any way. Just
didn't seem that way.
That's my brother. That's what he does.
And it was the last track on the album. You know, those tracks are usually the serious ones.
Is that right? Is that where they place?
Yeah, man. You know that. The last track's usually a little longer, a little slower. It's something in the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Rock and roll ain't no pollution.
Oh,
I'm Back in Black.
You're so annoying.
Nightcrawler, slowest track on Highway to Hell.
There you go. Why can't you think in other terms than AC/DC terms?
I'm doing this for you.
Ugh.
It's easy for me because it's just my encyclopedic knowledge.
Think of Radiohead's The Bends. It ends with Street Spirit.
I was trying, but I can't remember what their album ended with.
Street Spirit, Fade Out.
By the way, you know what I listened to because of our Patreon episode? If you're not subscribed, $5 a month, please. I listened to Exit music.
Exit music for a film. The track inspired by Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, that track
you hear that Romeo and Juliet in the lyrics?
No, it's garbage. The track is great. The idea for it, I'm sorry that it came from there, but I'm sorry I actually know that you told me.
And they have a song on the soundtrack, an amazing B-side called Talk Show Host.
Is that about us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he retroactively wrote that about us.
It's work. I mean, who knows? All right.
He runs into Alfie Allen at the fucking. I have a problem with the villains in this movie.
Well, I was wondering about one particular. I figured you would have an issue because the villains in general are so similar to the Equalizer villains. We're dealing with Ruskies again,
Russian mobsters, creative.
Right. Okay.
And it is a movie that is creative. So it's like, can you give me a little more with the villain?
So what you depend upon, you meaning the royal you depend upon getting a charismatic group of people. You succeed in one, very much.
In the first John Wick?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Who's charismatic?
Oh, I mean, you may disagree, and I was wondering.
Well, you've got Dean Winters. I fucking love that guy.
He's good, yeah. No, Vigo. Michael Nyqvist. I love him in this.
Listen, R.I.P. R.I.P. I think he's a good actor. This guy's no lead villain.
I disagree. But I think we like different lead Russian mobster villain gangster guys. Because you didn't like the guy in Equalizer.
This guy's better than that. I was watching this, comparing that to the Equalizer, and thinking like it is better than that.
You like him more than Martin Zokas.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I really like Martin Zokas, but I think this guy's great. He has the only line in the movie that I actually wrote down that I love, but I'm not going to say it yet. So okay, you got him. So you do like him, but overall, you're soured on the idea. You're thinking a movie this creative. Why are we doing? This is the route we go.
Yeah, and then in the second one, by the way, that guy had a brother.
Yeah, I know. That was I had never seen the second one until now. That was surprising.
It's a Die Hard with a Vengeance move.
Yeah, very much. Holy shit! I didn't even think of that. Yeah, not taken to that extreme, but so we want to make the Italians,
and certainly played by an actor with less charisma than Jeremy fucking Irons.
True, although I think you and me both would agree we like Peter Stormare, but
he's not in most of this movie.
No, he's not. Well, anyway,
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Fucking.
So Alfie Allen wants to buy the car. John Wick says it's not for sale, bitch, in Russian. And Alfie Allen wisely breaks into Wick's home, kills his dog, beats the shit out of him, and then tries to take the
and
car
steals
to
his car. Yeah.
Shop, led by
Johnny Legs.
Fuck are you doing here? You know whose fucking car this is? Do you know whose fucking car this is? It's John Wick. I don't want it. Take it back.
Welcome to the Pest Body Shop. All right? Hey, you know, when I was a kid, my mom was all like, "Puta, you got to do this." And my dad was all, "Oh, son, motherfucker, you better grow up, gringo." All right.
That was perfect.
That was my impression of John Leguizamo's Freak.
Oh my god! Or anything. That was really, really fucking good. That's all he does. I like him.
He just tells stories of his family and does the voices.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, puppy.
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, I'd go to school and my bus driver be like, "Come to the front of the bus, papi."
Welcome in the Spawn chop shop, am I right? This is what you think this is, Summer Sam?
But I turned him into a cholo all of a sudden. I liked my...
Oh, it's me, Adrian Brody. Evil is live spelled backwards.
Speaking of people who can't do accents.
Protect your neck. Protect your neck.
Oh, ooh, the truth. So this... The car goes to the chop shop. Leguizamo punches Alfie Allen, and it's on because Viggo, Michael Nyqvist, finds out that you do not steal from John Wick. He's Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. We hear that 100 times in this movie.
He will come after all of us. You are too stupid to know difference.
He's the boogeyman, like Michael Myers.
You know what's a problem with doing the Russian mobster thing in movies now?
It's been done 1,000 times.
Well, yes, but it wasn't a thing that was done 1,000 times. You know how I think we talked about this like 3 years ago, maybe when we were doing Die Hard. Like depending on what era you're living in, whatever culture is deemed the hostile culture is who you depict in movies.
Right, so it was Middle Easterns for a while there.
Exactly, and then we got Germans for a while, and now
I feel that we're back to Russians now.
Good. Agree. Forget. I'm not going to get into that. But no. But the bar was very highly set in 2007 with Eastern Promises.
Henry's holding up a pen as though it's a bar.
That's right. It's a red bar.
Yeah.
So a red. Get it?
Like
red.
Russians, sure.
Yeah. So. In 2007, we had Armin Mueller-Stahl and Viggo Mortensen playing Russia. You're not going to beat that. I mean, that is the Russian mob story to end all Russian mob stories.
Yeah, but also that's a movie that Hollywood assholes haven't actually seen.
That's true. It was Cronenberg, and it was kind of not one of his more famous movies. Yeah. But anyway, that's the movie I think of.
By the way, if you ever want to see Viggo Mortensen's dick, check it out, gang.
Check it out. Whole body 1,000 fucking times.
Holy shit, that thing's flopping around in that movie.
Yeah. So anyway, John Wick, right? He's an assassin, and he comes out of retirement. I'm back.
He takes a sledgehammer to the floor in his basement where he's got a bunch of guns buried.
Yeah, what did you think? Did you figure that's what he was doing?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was like his workout session. You know, like Rocky 4 or something.
I figured he was getting some guns.
Some men with a sledgehammer. Yeah. And anyway, there's some humor in the movie. I think quite a bit. I like when the cop guy, the dude from the newsroom, comes to the door.
Yeah, Thomas Sadowski. I will say that one of the things I really liked about this movie, I always say movies should just cast good TV actors.
Yeah,
and this movie's got a ton of that shit. Thomas Sadowski plays that cop who shows up in the second one too, and is kind of funny in that.
Yeah,
and you've got double Dean Winters, sure, from Oz and 30 Rock and SVU and whatever, and those cartoons. No, I mean those commercials. Remember?
Is that where
he's like, I'm chaos or something?
What is it, like a car insurance commercial?
Probably.
Or life insurance? Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, then
Ian McShane, yeah.
Ian McShane's fucking awesome as always. Then
Lance Reddick, yeah.
Yeah, there's double wire. You got Lance Reddick and Clark Peters. Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, Leonard Freeman.
Freeman and Daniels.
Daniels. So yeah, Lance Reddick, by the way, is great in these movies.
He's so good
because he doesn't do a lot. Like The Wire's kind of a funny show, and he doesn't really get comedy beats on The Wire.
No, he's usually. I mean, he has some funny, like reactive comments.
Sure, and he's on that show Fringe too, which has some funny shit in it, and he's kind of like the self-serious, I'm the boss man guy, and so it was kind of fun to see him like play some lighter shit.
And have some kind of enigmatic African accent from
nowhere. And he's the head of the Continental, which is a chain of hotels that cater to assassins. And it's interesting. They set up this sort of assassin universe where they have their own sort of like currency.
Yeah, like gold coins or
they
something.
They pay with these gold coins, and Ian McShane's the original assassin. He's Assassin 11111, and he approves the gold coins going out. We get to see him in a scene going like, these are lovely, put them into circulation.
You know what? I did not know. I knew the approval thing. I did not know that the 111 thing meant what it meant.
I think he's the god of assassination.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't. All right. That makes sense. So that's why he's like the owner of the American Continental, not the owner of all of them.
Well, we get to see the Italian Continental, and that's also run by Lance Reddick. So is Lance Reddick an android?
Are you right about that? He doesn't see him in Italy.
I thought so.
No.
All right, whatever.
That's the American wing. It's the Hotel Artemis, right? Is that where they got that idea?
I guess. What's that?
The Jodie Foster flick that tanked. Remember that?
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I forgot that existed. So yeah, the rest of the movie, Wick goes off and just kills people.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Are there action sequences in particular that you would like to talk about?
I mean, I don't often think this in some of these movies. Most of those sequences in the first one, especially, are like very close quarter type stuff. And the guys who directed it are clearly very, very good at it, because like I thought there was some very cool kills and some just very everything seems very tightly orchestrated. You can follow it. The kill, it's very easy to follow.
They worked on The Matrix, man, and to me, a lot of the fight choreography reminds me of The Matrix, especially because he's always using guns.
Right.
You know, there's not like he's not like having fights. He's not really kicking anyone. Every so often he'll like punch someone in the face, but largely the motherfucker's just flipping around and using guns.
I noticed that more in the second one, the more bigger usage of guns than I did in the first one.
But I noticed in the first one because I was making an effort to make puns involving John Wick's name, And what I wanted to do was the next time he kicked someone, I wanted to say John Kick.
Right.
But then he just never kicked anybody.
Delivered the Wick kick.
Yeah.
Is he from Bushwick?
Well, Keanu Reeves does support a local theater in Bushwick.
There you go.
The Bushwick Star.
There you go. That's what that is.
You know that the movie was always intended to be called Scorn, and then Keanu Reeves in interviews just kept telling interviewers, like, I'm going to be in this movie called John Wick. And apparently he had announced that so often that they were just like, I guess we have to change the title.
Yeah, which isn't a good title either, but whatever. I think we both always tend to agree that movie titles, no matter what the genre, as someone's name, tend to not be that creative, but whatever. Now it doesn't really matter. But Scorn sounds like a made-for-TV Lifetime horror movie,
It does. It does sound horror-y. It sounds like... Yeah, it sounds like a Lifetime movie involving stigmata.
Yeah, or Deborah Messing being cheated on by Dean Cain.
Oh, I like that. Tonight on Hallmark, a wife's fury. Scorn.
And introducing Alfie Allen. I had nothing else.
Is that what we're going to introduce? All right. So what happens, Henry?
Fucking guy leaving it all to me. Of course, because the second one's fresher in my mind, too. Oh, we meet Willem Dafoe, and despite me having seen this movie before, like a moron, I was deceived about this character until he reveals his true colors, which apparently... It seems like you're supposed to know this. So Marcus, played by Willem Dafoe, is John Wick's mentor, and you see him in the beginning. It seems a little shady.
You're supposed to think he's a heel,
right? And even he saves John Wick's life twice, and I overthought this. I thought he was saving him because he wanted to kill him. He didn't want, because you've certainly seen that in movies before, where it's like, no, it's my bounty. But I don't think you're even supposed to think that. And I totally thought that. Are you supposed to think he's saving his life like both times just to be benevolent? Did you think that?
I mean, I thought that he's friends with John, man. I think he was actively working towards helping John.
So, but it just was weird because I was like, then why would Vigo not so clearly see that Marcus would have such a problem killing John Wick? He, in fact, invites him to do so and thinks he'd be eager to do so.
Lazy writing.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
So, we run into a lot more fun assassins. We get Tyra from Friday Night Lights, Adrian Palicki. And she fights him.
Perkins?
That's Miss Perkins, yeah.
Yeah, she's all right.
She looks beautiful the entire time she's fighting. She gets punched in the face 1,000 times. She still looks magnificent.
Yeah, besides some cuts and scrapes even on Keanu, I marveled at the amount of bones that, because unlike in The Equalizer, which might as well keep referencing, Denzel's untouched pretty much constantly, and he's just like got that Steven Seagal thing where I will not be injured. Keanu gets the shit.
He's got the Bruce Willis thing.
Yeah, but not even to that point, because Bruce Willis, you really feel him when he gets injured. He's like walking around slogging in blood and broken bones, and Keanu's still got workable feet, arms.
Well, Keanu's a super assassin.
Right, nobody breaks a finger, nary a nose, and loses a tooth, nothing like that. So just scratches.
But his face is scratched to shit, Henry. And then when John Wick Chapter 2 picks up the story, it's like supposed to be 3 days later, and he looks pristine.
Right, I think just got some nails to the face. Some of those bad guys managed to get a nail in there. That's all. No deep cuts. No deep cuts here, folks.
No deep cuts, Henry. Not like Talk Show Host by Radiohead from the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack. When
there was another odd moment. let's get serious, folks. Another odd moment. So a cool sequence, I thought, is when Wick talks his way into the Red Circle nightclub, and he spares the bouncer.
Oh, and the bouncer is played by fucking Diesel, wrestler Kevin Nash.
I had to look that up. Yeah, obviously I didn't know who it was, but I like that little touch. You knew who that was, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a strange moment where Wick makes his way down all the way to the jacuzzi area, and he pauses. He makes it to Alfie Allen. He pauses, aims the gun right at him, looks at him, deadlocks eyes, and doesn't shoot. I thought we were going to take another turn somewhere. I thought we were taking is he?
We're just prolonging this fucking movie. Every he takes shots at people with no hesitation. I'm watching this movie. He's killing like 20 people at once. I'm thinking these people had whole lives. They spent 30 years as fully realized people leading up to this, and this motherfucker's just tearing them down like they're paper. And
Alfie gets a pause. Yeah.
He gets a pause, even though he's the fucking guy that he wants to kill.
A little weird, but I think that might have been an editing gaffe. I don't know that should have been that long. But anyway, he eventually gets Michael Nyqvist to tell him where Alfie Allen's hiding out. Fucking Nyqvist tells him. And so when Keanu goes to the warehouse and unceremoniously dispatches Alfie Allen, it does bring up my favorite line in the movie. And again, this is going to be a weird one for you. You're not going to find it amusing. But I think it's credit to Michael Nyqvist for developing a very funny line. Or delivering a funny line. He calls John Wick. He says, you killed my son. And he goes, "Thank you for granting my son a swift death." And Keanu doesn't say anything, and then Nyqvist goes, "I wouldn't know how to respond to that either." It's very funny.
But when he says, "Thank you for granting my son a quick death," doesn't Keanu say something like, "I'll do the same for you"?
Something. He doesn't say anything, so that's why Nyqvist says, "I wouldn't know how to respond to that either."
I think that did make me laugh at the time, actually.
Okay, yeah, because it's very funny. Because you picture if someone said that to you, "Thank you for giving my son a quick death," you're like, "You're welcome."
Yeah, there's some fun absurdities in it. It's.
I
mean, it's shot very heightened, very sort of comic booky, and very video gamey, really.
It's video gamey, but one of the things I liked about it, like I said, I haven't said this actually. I appreciated. Did you notice the almost entire lack of slow motion?
Yes, I did.
Almost nothing, and I was very grateful for that. I think it elevated it because you throw a bunch of 10 or 11 slow mo shots in there. This is a totally different film, and I'm probably out.
We're over that shit. These directors, they're fight choreographers. So they want you to feel the speed and the pace of the battle.
Not in The Matrix.
Yeah, but The Matrix is directed by the Wachowskis. Like, it's not like the fight choreographers direct the movie.
That's true.
I just think a movie directed by well-respected fight choreographers probably would have good fights that you can follow.
And they want you to see what they're doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they're really genuinely great. The fights. Yes. The close quarters, hand-to-hand fighting is very fun to watch.
It is. I agree. I mean, it was only at, like we were saying, I think. I don't know if you agreed with me, but at around, this movie's about 110 minutes. At around the 80-minute mark, it was growing a little tired, because then we get car chases.
Well, I'll tell you, there is that moment where once he kills Alfie Allen, I'm like, end the movie.
Right. Yeah, no.
But it goes on for like 20 more minutes. Yeah.
He wants to now get Nyqvist because Nyqvist kills Willem Dafoe.
Which I guess is fair, and I think that's the villain problem with this movie, Henry, because ultimately the villain that perpetrates the act that sends John Wick on this journey is not a strong enough villain to be the boss of the movie. And so we're doing a thing where, all right, well, then there's this other guy. He's kind of the boss. I never felt closure on this sequence because I feel like at the end of a movie like this, the main guy has to fight the awesome villain. And there's no awesome villain in this.
Well, the awesome villain isn't, like you said, isn't the guy who perpetrates the initial crime. So it's very secondhand. It's kind of like, what was the point? I mean, I guess you're supposed to delve into thinking they have some sort of father-son relationship, like Viggo and John Wick, because he lets him go, right? They say that's why he was able to retire in the first one.
Yes, and I liked some of the scenes, especially where Viggo was telling his son about John Wick. The pencil thing was cute and
very funny in the sequel.
Yeah. So I like a lot of that relationship. It's set up pretty nicely. Henry, what do you give this movie?
I give John Wick 3 stars.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah. Had you settled on that or
yes.
or beforehand? Yeah.
Not before we started talking, but before you said yours.
Okay. Yeah. So we're both giving it 3. It's a high 3. I'll say that.
It's a 3.
It's a high 3. My MVP is Michael Nyqvist, actually.
That's insane to me.
Not to me, because I didn't think Keanu... I think he's very good in this movie, but I liked him much more in the second one. I think he was given a little bit more to do acting-wise. In this first one, he's just... I feel in this one, whenever he gets to have some dialogue, he's very good. But on those lines that are supposed to be like the lines... He's so Keanu, I can't get past it.
I just think that the reason he works in the role is that ultimately you have this guy who he says the puppy was his last bit of hope. And so ultimately the character you're following throughout this movie is someone who is completely hopeless. He's just a blank slate trying to get his vengeance on these people. And so, ultimately, Keanu as just like a hollow presence at the center of the movie works. It's not necessarily, Keanu's
not a lot of depth.
He's not necessarily an amazing actor, but I think Keanu, we've talked about this in The Matrix, when used properly, is a really great movie star. And
in Speed.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good role for him. That said, he's not my MVP.
I'm a little surprised. All right.
I'm gonna go with Ian. No, I was gonna go with Ian McShane, or I'm gonna go with Lance Reddick.
Oh, all right. Minor role, but a good one.
I think he's really good in this.
All right. So that's our MVPs, folks, and our rating. My LVP was pretty easy because I think everybody else in the movie really works up to and including all of Viggo's henchmen, but Alfie Allen, baby. Wow,
yeah, I'm with you.
Just doesn't work.
No,
doesn't work. No. Okay. Dan's gonna go check the weather for the next 2 weeks while I read our superhero count. This was a biggie. He's nodding his head in disapproval, even though it was labor intensive for me. Here we go. Okay. Oh, let's keep it going. All right. Keanu Reeves, of course, was in Constantine.
Of course.
Adrienne Palicki
was Wonder Woman.
You knew that.
Yeah, she was Wonder Woman in that David E. Kelly pilot that didn't make it to air.
All right. Also in the 2006 Aquaman that didn't quite.
Oh, really? Fuck.
Yeah. Played Nadua.
That's crazy. I'm glad. Glad she's doing okay these days.
She is because, well, she did Smallville where she played Kara, And these days, was doing an appearance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., playing
Oh,
Barbara Morse.
yeah. She was Mockingbird on.
Oh.
They were thinking of actually spinning her off into her own series, but I guess they never bothered to do that. And now these days, she's not on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. She's on that show, The Orville, with Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's doing fine. Dean Winters was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, where he played a bartender.
Okay.
Ian McShane is in the upcoming, which will be covered by us at some point, not for a long time, Hellboy.
It's not upcoming. It came out. No one fucking saw it.
Is that right? Oh, you're right. Ooh, I guess we skipped over that in the franchises. All right with me. Trevor Brutenholm, he played.
I'm sure he was great.
Failure. Did that do badly?
Yep.
Oh, boy. All right. Ooh, Hellboy. John Leguizamo played Javier. Hey, Papi in Kick-Ass 2. And, of course, in Spawn, he played the clown.
Oh, of course he fucking did. I forgot that.
I thought you would say that immediately before I even got it out. All right. Willem Dafoe, as Dan would know, but I wouldn't, played Nudius Volko in Aquaman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he sure did.
Whose dad is he?
I don't remember. Maybe he's probably like the Ocean Master's dad.
There you go. Well, he's somebody else's dad in Spider-Man. He plays the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
All right.
In all three.
That's right. David Patrick Kelly, who played the cleaner, which was a cool part of this movie. The guy who cleans up the messes.
Love that. See, that's the kind of touch I enjoy. I like the hotel thing. I like the sort of rules of being an assassin, the currency and the moral codes.
Right.
Yeah. I like this too. The company that just will clean up any corpse.
That's great. He was in The Crow.
I love this scene. By the way. It might be in the second one where that homeless motherfucker gets a gun and shoots those two guys, and then the second they drop to the ground, the cleaning service comes and grabs them.
Yeah, that was great. That was excellent. He was in The Crow playing T-Bird.
Oh, part of the gang.
Lance Reddick was in Jonah Hex. Played a character named Smith.
Sure.
He played Ra's al Ghul, the voice of in Beware the Batman. And in an Avengers cartoon, he played the voice of Falcon.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. This one was interesting.
He looks like a falcon.
He does. He kind of looks like a bird, like a condor.
Yeah, a peregrine falcon.
Look at you. Do you remember in the Daredevil Netflix series? Do you remember Wesley?
Yes, I do.
He was in this movie. He played the protector of Alfie Allen in this movie. That's Toby Leonard Moore.
Yes, he's also on Billions. He's a good actor.
Yeah. Another Russian henchman named Kirill had an uncredited appearance in Logan, an actor named Daniel Bernhardt.
Okay.
Nobody cares.
Fellow Daniel.
Bridget Regan, who played the bartender.
Addie.
You remember that?
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow I'm able to pull that bartender's name.
Jesus Christ. All right, well, she played Dottie Underwood in Agent Carter.
Oh, yes! That is right. She, I think they were roommates or something. She and Agent Carter.
I like when I get Dan to smile and get semi-involved, or at least pretend to be in my superhero kind of makes me a little happy. We're almost done. 3 to go. Keith Jardine, who played another Russian hitman in this, was in... Ooh, okay. So he was in The Punisher, in the Netflix Punisher, as just a fucking one of the goons. But, more importantly, he played a character named Vern in Dan's favorite comic book of all time.
Ernest? Hey, Vern!
Know what I mean? I guess you don't know what I mean, because I mean Preacher.
Oh, let's cover Ernest.
You know, my girl's sounding pretty good right about now. Although those will be golden.
He plays Vern in Preacher? I don't recall that.
Clark Peters, the great Clark Peters, I forgot this, played Detective Oscar Clemens in several episodes of Jessica Jones.
That's right.
I saved the best for last for you. Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash played the Russian in the 2004 Tom Jane Punisher.
He also played the Super Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
The Secret of the Ooze, of course.
Right. And in a live-action movie that coincided with the MCU Thor, there was one on TV called Almighty Thor, and he played Odin.
This was one of those things, Henry. That's not actually, that shouldn't be on your superhero account. This is one of those companies that like makes copycat movies of movies that are going to be big later that year.
Let's pull that off just because they're Norse gods. They
Exactly. It's not copyrighted.
Wow.
So as long as they specify that this is the Norse god version of Thor, they made a fucking Thor movie. Yeah.
God.
I remember that. All right.
All right.
John Wick 2.
John Wick 2.
Everyone's back, gang. It's Chad Stahelski directing without the help of David Leitch this time. Derek Kolstad is back to write. And this baby was released Feb 10, 2017. On a budget of $40 million. They only raised it by 10.
Yeah, not much. I was surprised at that.
But how about the difference? The last one made 88 worldwide. This made 171.5.
Wow.
And that one made 92 domestically, which is double the amount the first one made.
Well, I guess you were right about the word of mouth.
And FYI, the third one like already has that beat. So
really?
People are discovering these movies.
It just occurred to me something very key, that despite your action fatigue, we are both going to have to see the third one in the theater.
In fucking theaters, dude. I might have to go see that fucking Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron movie again. Just to cleanse my palate.
You might have to just make sure that guy finished his Instagram post. He probably went back to try to finish the movie after you were done.
You know what I watched after I finished John Wick 2, Henry?
I couldn't even possibly guess.
I watched that Netflix movie Wine Country.
I've seen it advertised. No interest.
I was like, maybe I gotta just watch 50-year-old women talking to each other.
That's what it is?
Yeah, it's Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph and Rachel Dratch and shit. And, it's not very good, but it was like what I needed.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right, so this Wick 2 comes out. It's number 35 at the domestic box office for 2017, coming in right there between Blade Runner 2049 and the Emoji Movie. Now, Of course, this is a hit, whereas Blade Runner 2049 was something of a flop because of the difference in budgets.
Oh, it's not what I was expecting you to say.
You thought I was going to talk some more shit?
Yeah.
All right, 2017 lists?
Sure, and I did update it a tad, and for the first time added a few honorables, which I had never done for this year.
Fine, let's hear them.
Fucking.
We just did a fucking 14 superhero count.
Lo siento, papi. Honorable mentions: Wind River, I, Tonya, It Comes at Night, Wonder Woman, Brawl in Cell Block 99, and yes, folks, yes, not on the top 10 because of recency bias, but an honorable mention, T2.
Oh, Train Spotting 2? Fucking thank the Lord.
That's not going to be permanent. I just watched something else, and it replaced it on my top 10.
Why? Because it's a much better movie?
Let's get started. What do you got brewing over there?
Number 10 is I, Tonya.
Number 10 for me is Mother.
My number 9 is Mother.
My number 9, replacing T2, ladies and gentlemen, is Thor Ragnarok.
I love that.
Yeah, I rewatched it.
My number 8 is Brigsby Bear.
My number 8 is Icarus.
My number 7 is A Ghost Story.
My number 7 is Logan.
Your fucking 2017 list. I liked what Hollywood put out. I went to the multiplex a lot this year.
Yeah, you know me. I I like mindless entertainment, folks.
Yeah.
That's what Icarus is. Yes.
My number 6 is Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I like artsy films. I only watch things that have directors who nobody knows.
Nobody knows. That guy's the Academy Award nominee.
Guy's awesome. That's his worst film.
I disagree.
Actually, it's the only film he's made that's not very good, in my opinion. And he agrees with me.
I know. God, you'll hold that over to me forever now.
Especially since it was you who
I
pointed
should
it out.
never have told you that.
Number 6, Get Out.
All right, heavy hitters. My number 5 is Stronger.
Number 5 is Blade Runner 2049.
My number 4 is Lady Bird.
Number 4 is Dunkirk.
My number...
You all right there? You got something in your throat?
My number 3 is The Florida Project.
Okay. Big Hollywood blockbuster there. My number 3 is a movie you didn't see. LA 92.
Okay. My number 2 is Get Out.
My number 2 is Hostels.
This is your worst list.
I hear that a lot from you. I'm quite happy with my list.
This is
Very
up
happy.
there. This is up there with your worst.
Oh, is it? Is
yeah,
it Brigsby
the
Bear?
worst of
Okay.
Henry. I
Okay.
stand by every fucking movie on this list, hardcore.
So do I.
Number 1, Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're friends again.
Yeah.
All right, JW2.
All right, so you think everything's done, right? Wrong. It's a couple days later. He still needs to get his car back, right? So he breaks into a place and he gets his car back. He runs some people down, but I'm watching this thing. He's just fucking the car up, and
It's kind of funny though. I have to say,
I don't like it until the punchline of it with him asking Leguizamo if he could fix it.
That was very funny.
That's a funny moment.
It was very funny, but it was also that's prior to that happens after Peter Stormare's very good sequence where he's like, he comes after my family. He once used the pencil to... Yeah, I know the pencil story.
Yeah.
And I liked the reaction shots of Stormare where he doesn't see anything. He can just hear all this mayhem in his garage, and they keep cutting back and forth. And there's a pretty sweet death among the 1,000 that happen in the first 5 minutes when he opens the car door and the guy just takes it off on a motorcycle.
That is good. No. There's absolutely some fun shit, man. The action in these movies really work for me.
I like this movie better than the first one.
I like the first one more than this one.
I'll tell you why I like this one better. Because the first one was a little humbler. But this one is audacious, but some of the audacity really pays off. It is some of the coolest set design I've seen in a while.
I think...
Wow.
No, you're absolutely right. And they're really going for it now where it's like, this is kind of the real world, but it's kind of not.
It's pretty sensational. I mean, the last time I was on the C train, it didn't look anything like that.
I was going to bring that up.
Fuck. When that came up at first, I was like, oh, is that like what the path looks like now, the path train? And then I was like, she announces all the stops. I'm like, that ain't no C train.
Yeah. Well, it looks more like a path train than a C train. I don't know. In some ways, it reminded me of an action movie version of what Wes Anderson does to New York in the Royal Tenenbaums, where it's like kind of like New York, but then they're like going to like the 285th Street Y, and all the cabs are those like broken down gypsy cabs with like...
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
It's a hyper realized version of a city that does exist, but nothing in there is real. I've never been to a museum quite like any of the one that thing is.
My God. That was silly. Because, like, ultimately, it's funny because action movies, one of, like, the challenges is to find new, interesting, locations for action that have never been done before. Movies in the 80s and 90s like fell into that trap of like a steam factory or a spark factory. And they are coming up with interesting moments in these movies, but in this one it's like, well, we're just going to create an art exhibit.
Right. I mean, they're gargantuan. They're huge. I mean, in the whole thing in Italy where he kills the mafia doness. She's not just in a hot tub. She's like in like what looks like some sort of fucking pagan Wiccan cult sauna.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
Well, okay, yeah, he has to go to Italy to kill this woman because now he's back in. He had to complete an impossible task to get out of being an assassin, to get out of the world of the assassins.
Right. So Viggo, it is implied, had told him, "You're out if you kill." We assume, and I read some of this, he probably just knocked off a whole bunch of bosses so Viggo could kind of rule New York. But it also, in tandem, was given his freedom with help from an Italian mob boss of the High Table, who I guess Keanu probably said, "I'll give you a marker for doing this for me. If you ever need my services, call on me." And, probably never thought he'd be called on. He's called on, and he's back.
Right. So he was back because he just killed 1,000 people to avenge his dog. And so now they're telling him, like, to get out again, you need to complete another impossible task. So go to Italy and kill this lady who's being guarded by one of the great master assassins of the world, Common. Okay.
Ooh, I got to tell you, we just covered Will.i.am recently when we're talking about rappers who Common is a much better actor.
Artificial intelligence. Have you seen those commercials?
No.
They're horrible. Anyway, no.
It's good. I like them. He's
okay. He's definitely better than Will.i.am, but I still say maybe hire an actor. Is that fair? Is that something that's rational to ask of a movie producer?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's rational. You could also keep the price tag down, but...
I mean, if you want like a big, handsome, bald black guy, just cast like Boris Kojo.
Bill Duke.
Sure.
He could do those martial arts scenes.
He might be a little old now. Get Keith David.
Hey, get Larry Oh,
right. Fishburne's in this thing.
Yeah, he is.
I gotta tell you, when Fishburne's bad, Fishburne's tough to take.
Let me tell you, man, I feel like a tangent of this show since 2016 has been unintentional bashing of Larry Fishburne.
An actor we both like.
Yes, but he brings this movie, like he does Predators, to a screeching halt. A screeching Morpheus halt. I don't get it. I don't know what it is. I guess I need him in an actual role or something. I don't know.
This is what he does now. He just shows up for like 10 minutes of action movies, but they're like 10 minutes in a row where it's just like, let's stop this fucking movie. Hey, are you into this thing? Take a piss. We're going to have Larry Fishburne just fucking yapping for 10 minutes.
I'm so glad that you are in agreement with me on that. This movie was moving along at a very nice
This movie's 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm sorry. That's 20 minutes too long.
Oh, I completely agree, but maybe those 20 minutes could have been some fish taken out of that water, and they get to Larry, and it is just like his usual, stopping the film with this crazy maniacal pontification of his Morpheus role, which I guess he'll never get out of his head. And
come on, it's a Keanu, Larry Fishburne, so it at least makes sense in context here.
I know, but it's just. I want him to speak fast. Can Aaron Sorkin hire him or something? I want him to speak quicker. I'd like his delivery to be fast.
He does, man. He's on that Blackish show. He yaps on that. It's a half-hour sitcom. We got to get the lines out.
Something good, though.
All right. Henry, have you ever seen a moment of that show?
Yes, actually, I have.
Oh, okay.
I did. Yeah, that for once, I'm not talking out of turn. I want David Mamet to write him some dialogue.
That'd be great, dude.
Yeah, it would be. He'd be great. Anyway, a lot of shit happens.
Throw him on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'd like to see him on that.
Something light? Is that what you're saying?
No, they yap fast on that show. Henry, so he goes off to Italy to kill this woman. The woman, understanding the massive power of John Wick's assassination skills, just flat out kills herself.
In ritualistic fashion. This woman is the sister of the man who, the brother orders the sister's death because the father left the seat at the high table to her, not him.
Okay. And so he comes out and runs into Kamen, who's like supposed to be her bodyguard, and he's like, they clearly know each other as friends, which is kind of interesting. And then they're like, they understand that they're adversaries in this particular situation, and then they go after each other and fight, and it's a pretty cool fight.
It's a great fight, and I also think I was pretty strongly implied that Kamen had more in common with her than common friendship, right? More like a sort of a romantic thing going on there. Yeah, because she also says, like, what would I do without you? And it's a little pretty sexy delivered line. So, by the way, I like that actress. No, I've never seen her before in my life.
I actually thought she was good, too. No, I don't even know if I looked up who it was.
She's got a lot of heft. Yeah.
She does. She looks a little bit like Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like an Italian Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jesus, I don't see that at all, but...
Let's see. She's an Italian actress. She's in a lot of Italian shit. That's why you don't know her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Anyway, she's in The Passion of the Christ.
Of course she is.
And Under the Tuscan Sun.
Oh, there you go. Italy and Mel Gibson's obsession with, deserts and Moroccan places. So. Yeah.
She's dead. He's fighting Kamen. They end up at the Continental Italy edition. And so that's like a ground where they have to be
neutral.
Neutral. It's neutral ground. Neutral territory.
The owner of that, by the way, of course, the famous Django himself.
Franco Nero, of course.
That's right.
Right. Very cool.
We have the brother, Italian brother. He has a hitman who's a mute.
Oh,
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose. At least she's mute in this. And
I'll tell you something. I was just thinking about. I was reaching over and I crossed out my LVP and changed it
to Ruby Rose.
No, I took her off. She wasn't.
She's not my LVP. She's fine because she's a good screen presence. And
she's
so
fine.
To like pop her in something as like a mute assassin, that's probably good casting for Ruby Rose.
I also wanted to say we never mentioned in the first movie.
And by the way, sorry, I liked the scene. I actively liked the scene where she's communicating in sign language with Keanu.
I agree. And tied to that, it works. Is that I liked in the first movie, and they continue in the second, that all of the subtitles are done like sort of.
Yeah,
it's very funny. It's it lends it a very distinct touch, which makes it lighter.
It's creative. It's done in sort of more big block letters. Occasionally, words are colored in or bigger than others for emphasis. They got clever with that, which I always appreciate.
And it worked. I don't know. A lot of the things in these two movies, I think that wouldn't otherwise work. Like things I would probably criticize in other films. These goofy little touches just feel at home in this universe to me.
It's enjoyable. And he goes. I like the sequence where he goes to Italy and he goes to a tailor to get some suits. And Keanu's good in this stuff.
Yes, he is. He gets to talk more. I like this is why one of the reasons I like this movie better, and some of the, like I said, set direction and fight sequences I thought were cool, and
raise stakes because they now blow up his house.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is spared. The pit bull is spared.
Right, he buys a dog at the end of the second one, and at the first one, and a new dog, and that's in this one as well. It's not as cute as the original dog, but it's still pretty cute.
What are you going to do?
I felt bad for the dog. I feel like John Wick's not a good pet owner.
He isn't a great pet owner. He boards a lot. He boards the animals a lot. However, if you're going to leave it with anybody, leave him with Lance Reddick.
Sure, and Lance Reddick's very funny and that stuff. But I will say, dude, there's one point in this movie where it's near the end where John Wick is like thinks he's done and he's like, "Let's go home." And I'm thinking, what do you mean, let's go home, John Wick? Your home's blown up. And that's exactly what he means. He goes to his fucking husk of a home with his dog. It is pouring out. Like, take your fucking dog inside, John Wick.
Or at least get one of those doggy sweaters that you see all over New York. You know, get him a little slicker.
I mean, something.
You're in New York. There's
He's
plenty
just
of
walking this dog through the, like a burnt out husk of a home in this fucking shithole version of New York that is being pelted by rain.
Where does he live? Where is that spot? Where would that be? That giant? Is he like out in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind territory?
I think he lives in Yonkers.
I was just gonna say. But he's got New Jersey plates on his car.
So maybe he's in New Jersey. Maybe that's why he's on the Path/C train.
Yeah, maybe. Very strange location for John Wick to for his abode or lack thereof.
It's like The Godfather.
Yeah, right.
I'm far enough away.
Maybe he's in Staten Island.
You know what? He could have. He could have bought the car in Jersey and have like a license registered in. I don't know. I don't remember.
You never know. The Garden State. So what else happens in this movie? He meets Peter Serafinowicz, the sommelier. They have a fun convo about guns. Because of course, we got to talk about guns some more.
Yeah, honestly, that kind of stuff. I'm not.
It was a little cute.
I'm not going to be political about it. Whatever. It's a fucking movie called John Wick 2. But that kind
John
of
Wick Chapter 2, excuse me.
Sorry, yes, you're right. That kind of gun porn never did much for me. Like when they discuss the calibers and how many rounds they hold.
See what they're doing is they're discussing it like it's wine. Because it's like, he says, this wine is robust. He says this gun is robust. And
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So they come back to America and resumes the fight with Common. Again, we're just killing a bunch of people. And then ultimately Keanu ends the movie by killing somebody in the Continental, which is a big, big no-no.
That's a no-no.
And so an order goes out against Keanu to all assassins. Anybody in the world can kill Keanu and he's got a bounty on his head of like $7 million.
Well, the thing is that it's a reprisal of what happens in the first movie when Perkins gets killed in that little place in Central Park, and he walks into the same area. But then we get a little bit Professor Xavier going on here, a little bit of Matrix stuff happening here, where Ian McShane basically stops everybody in their tracks because everybody in Central Park is an assassin.
I know, and then we see everybody's phone ringing, and it's like, and it's like they're getting a text message, "Hey, kill John Wick," and John Wick's there,
that is
like
exactly what they're getting. Yeah. And so he buys him a reprieve of like 1 hour. He's like,
right.
I know you broke the rules, but I'm going to give you an hour head start.
So he starts running, and that's the sequel.
Right, but you will have a contract on your head. Having said that, I did like when he comes back to America and all the other assassins are after him for that contract. And instead of going one by one, which would be rather exhausting, they intercut him fighting like the big Asian fellow with him fighting the two white guys in the station with the female violinist. It's kind of all done at the same time.
Right.
Save time, and then we get that cool PATH train sequence or C train.
Yeah, that sequence with he and Common on the and slowly people are getting out at all the stops. And by the way, they got that right. A lot of people got out of Canal Street. Of course, if they were being truly accurate, they would have all been Asian, but whatever.
If they were being truly accurate, Keanu and Common would not have been able to fight because all of a sudden it would have been
Showtime!
And then Showtime would go off and these guys are like trying to fight, and then it would be like, los días muertos muertos polacos, les amigos, it's just stuff like that.
And then they'd get off and be like, I'm a veteran of the United States Marines. I'm currently homeless.
Oh, memories. Oh, God. There was way more shit than those three things happening, but Showtime always stuck in my craw.
I like Showtime.
You fucking would.
I do. I like watching the Showtime guys way more than I like the mariachi bands.
I'll take the mariachi guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Any day of the week and twice on Sunday. But,
who the best one is? I used to have a guy who brought a little amplifier with him, and he'd very lightly play classical music and then sing opera over it very quietly.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you're not talking about Gregory Davis, are you?
No, of course not.
Wasn't his train.
Shout out to Gregory Davis.
Shout out to Gregory Davis because he can only hear us.
To your friends, your families, and enjoy your day. Let your family know to enjoy their day. All right, whatever. He was a customer at Barnes & Noble.
I'm going to pay for $300 in CDs in nickels.
Boom. I remember that. He held up a lot of people. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you give John Wick 2?
You know what?
Chapter 2.
I struggled a bit with this, but I want to differentiate because I do think there's a slight improvement. I'm going to go with 4 stars.
I'm going to give it a 3 again. My MVP will now be Keanu Reeves.
It is mine. He is mine.
Mm.
He is my MVP. I think he's significantly more into the role here, and I think it works better.
Okay. Who is your LVP?
Well, last time we agreed on our LVP, we disagreed on our MVP. This time we agree on our MVP. My LVP is going to be, and not for the first time, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, I gotta go Fishburne myself, actually.
Yeah.
It's not great.
What? No, Larry.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but they're pretty fun movies, man.
They are. If they're not movies I would probably all go out to recommend to anyone, but I would recommend them to anyone who is curious about an action movie or likes Keanu Reeves.
I'm happy to keep seeing them. And they're working on this TV spinoff about the fucking hotel, and that intrigues me.
It intrigues me depending on what network is airing it.
That's fair, but all I'm saying is
who is it, you know?
No, I don't know. The thing I like the most about John Wick is the world building. I think they do a good job at that, and so a TV show will let more of that come through.
I agree with you. You're always more attuned to the world building thing than I am, but you're right in this case. I agree. All right, folks, there is a superhero count, but it's short.
Okay, good.
It's 5. All right. Ruby Rose...
Batwoman, upcoming on the CW.
Didn't know, yeah. Has already been in Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl.
Well, yeah, they're just setting up this new series. So, yeah, that'll premiere in the fall, Batwoman. Yeah, should be good.
Not going to do well. All right.
No, it'll do well. It's on the CW. It's attached in the same universe as the Flash and Arrow. And
I said that, yeah.
But all those shows do well. It'll do fine, yeah.
I did not remember this because I don't remember much about this piece shit, but Common played Monster T in Suicide Squad.
Who's Monster T?
I don't remember that. I don't know.
All right. Have fun, Common.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we do the Justice League coverage.
Nope. No, we'll get to that when we do Suicide Squad. I'm gonna want to see that fucking Edgar Wright Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, okay, right. Larry Fishburne was Bill Foster, Goliath in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Perry White in them DC movies. Silver Surfer in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm.
And the narrator in the 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Wow, jeez, he's been all over.
Sure has. Your boy Peter Serafinowicz.
He's the Tick.
He's the Tick.
Yep.
And he's in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, playing another character from that movie I don't remember, called Garthan Saul.
Okay, probably on another planet. But yeah, the Tick just got canceled this week, very sadly.
I never watched it, but I'm sad for you. And finally, Peter Stormare played...
Is that how you pronounce that?
I tend to pronounce things like an Italian person would. I mean, he's Swedish, so it could be like Stormar or something.
I don't know. All right, anyway.
How do you always say it?
I've always said in my head Stormare, but I realize I've never once said that name out loud.
Yeah, no. Peter Stormare. Now I fucking said it. Peter Stormare played Dracula in the Batman vs. Dracula.
Cool.
Makes sense. He played Lucifer in Constantine, which I've never seen.
Yeah.
He played Count Vertigo in Arrow.
You know, there's another one of those bars in Constantine where it's like a demon bar, but you're not allowed to commit violence.
Those demon bars are everywhere, man. Aren't they in Blade as well?
Yeah, but there's a lot of violence in those bars.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, what'd you say? Who was he in? What?
He was in Arrow playing Count Vertigo.
Yeah, that's a big Arrow villain.
All right. And he was also in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon playing Lord Dreg.
Holy shit, which cartoon?
Oh, there's like 1,000 of them, dude. I had 19 things to do.
That was like a weird thing, Lord Dreg, where in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, it ran for 10 seasons, and in like the 8th season, they got like sick of telling Shredder stories, and so they like wrote Shredder off in the 8th season, and then in the last 2 seasons, if you watch them, they like try to make this new villain happen, and it's Lord Dreg.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All right. And finally, in Justice League Action, Peter Stormare played Mr. Freeze.
Oh, okay.
That's all, folks.
Fuck yeah, dude. All right. Love it.
Next week, we're gonna be going to the theaters, folks, for our always entertaining jaunts and escapades that happen to each of us, mainly Dan. And we're gonna see John Wick 3.
Parabellum.
Parabellum. Yeah, we're getting more fancy with these titles now.
Yeah, we added a chapter in the second one. Now it's chapter 3 plus a colon.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Also, I find it weird when movie titles are chapters because generally stories with chapters have a lot of chapters. So what are we doing? There are going to be 17 of these John Wick movies?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, unless it's like a kid's book.